All right, first big F1 video, not necessarily a picks video because I want the starting grid. I want them to actually practice this weekend. Most of these projections are based off of the testing sessions that we've seen. And you can argue if hands or buts about that. Is Mercedes sandbagging? Did Haas F1 get an unfair advantage? Or are they doing better because they had cargo arrive late? They got extra time on the track later with better temperatures. You can argue things around that. Is Ferrari going to close the gap between Red Bull in round one? A lot of things out there. But so it's not necessarily a picks video, but at least my perception, my early look at how I think lineups are going to go and who I think actually has an advantage, not in terms of drivers, but in terms of DFS players. And so let me bring this up here. Clearly, as I just said, early projections. These are not the final projections. Clearly, we don't know everybody's starting. Right now, I'm just high on I'm high on Ferrari. Because I do think they have the best chance of getting drivers on the podium, at least the most drivers on the podium. And I think they're the more consistent team. Like right now, I think Verstappen wins the race. I think we have two Ferrari guys on the podium, and I think we have Lewis Hamilton in fourth. That's just where I'm leaning right now. But continuing on from what I was saying, I think the guys who have the easiest transition and the mentality to build these lines are the guys playing week in, week out, 2 a.m., LPL and LCL slates for League of Legends. I think it's a very similar type of lineup construction to that, or at least the same mentality towards that. Now, I'm going to give an example for that, and I'll apply it to F1 and why I think that. So clearly, obviously, you need your ADC, most likely, in the captain position. You need to actually play teams that are going to win. But when you get to the minute positions on League of Legends, support, you need to pretty much always play one of the two highest scoring support players. That's just how it ends up going. If you don't play that, you're not scoring enough, and you're going to be beat by other lines. You need to play one of the two highest scoring teams on there. That's really just how it's going to go. If you're going to win those tournaments, that's what it leans to. When it goes to F1, I think constructor is honestly the most important position to nail, second to captain. My bad. I think constructor is the most important one, and then captain is actually second, because the gap between, in which, yet again, go to BrandonCruzDFS on Patreon, link above, link below, get the sheets that show you how guys would have performed previously in previous races, get a sheet that was that was put together in advance. This isn't just, hey, F1 dropped on Tuesday, let's get a sheet together. This is stuff that has been baking in the oven. And when we look at how, we'll look at round one of last year's Bahrain opening. And so I'll talk about the driver source, and I'll actually go to captains. So last year we have Lewis Hamilton, who yet again last year was kind of Mercedes kind of sandbagging in the testing, went out and won the first race. But you have Hamilton in finishing first, you have Verstappen in second, you have Bottas in third, you have Norris in fourth, you have Perez in fifth, and so that's just your top five finishers. Let's look at them in terms of DraftKings points. Lewis Hamilton, your winner, 33.7 DraftKings points. The guy who finished the second, Verstappen, 26.9 points. A big drop-off between first and second. Bottas finishes third, 20 points. Norris finishes fourth, 20 points. Perez finishes fifth, 14 points. So the drop between fifth and first of finishers and 14 and 33.7 DraftKings points is absolutely huge. So when we look back at the early projections here, look, the gap between these guys are freaking, it's huge. It's important. That's why, and continuing on, last year's first one, we'll talk about the three highest scoring teams. So you have Mercedes, 56.7 DraftKings points. Red Bull, the second highest scoring, 37.9. Gigantic gap. McLaren, 25 points. So you have Mercedes scoring 56.7. You have McLaren scoring 25. That's the difference between first and third. Getting the constructor right is my priority week in and week out, because the points that it's going to leave on the table if you miss, I'm not saying the pool's small, but really, even in this race here, let's look at the guys who didn't actually score points in terms of drivers, or let's look at the lowest scoring drivers. You have Fernando Alonso ran into issues, -5 points. You have a guy with -4, 0, 1, 1, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 10, Then we get to 10th. Then we get to 14, 14, 20, 20, 26.9, 33.7. That's a gigantic gap. If you're, at least in my opinion right now, I am not wasting my captain position on one of these guys that are not going to be scoring well. Not necessarily Lando Norris. I'm just saying based on projections. Guys that are scoring low are not going to be my captain, despite the fact that I might be able to score more guys in there. And this is where, building multiple lines and having projections and everything can help you, because then you can build lines and see how they compare against each other. But right now, I want my captain. If I can't play the highest scoring guy, it's going to be my second highest projected driver. I'm leaning towards nearly always captaining the guy who finishes first or the guy who finishes second. If I have him projected to win the race, if I'd like him to win the race, I'm going to try and captain him. That's just how it's going to be. I don't want to lose the DraftKings points that he's going to get me in the captain position, because those points are going to be hard to make up from other positions. Same thing with constructor. Technically right now I'm just high on Ferrari. Probably really high. That's probably a too high of projection. Probably need to bump him down. But early in the week, it's 3 teams right here. And when we start looking at the salary constraints, you have Mercedes at 11.2. I'm most likely not going there. I like Red Bull at 10.8. I like Ferrari at 9.4. Those are the 3 guys that I would consider playing there, because the gap between the points are going to be huge. I don't want to play. They call this Alpine. I'm from Texas, okay? I grew up in El Paso, had to do a lot of drives between El Paso and the Big Bend National Park area. I would go through Sierra Blanca, where my family owns property. I would go through Van Horn, which is now famous for Jeff Bezos. I would go through Marfa, Texas. I would go through this little town called Alpine, spelled the same way. So if I start saying Alpine, that's why, because in my brain, I've heard Alpine my entire life from that little town in Texas. Anyway, I'm not playing these teams. Why would I give up? Even if I don't have Ferrari for 47, if I even it out to probably Red Bull being like 33, Ferrari being like 30, somewhere around there, that's still a huge gap. We're giving up too many positions to play some constructor that's cheap. I want to absolutely always play one of the highest scoring constructors. And if anything, I want to play my highest projected constructor. Just that's how I want to look at it right now. And then same thing with captain. I understand it's tied on salary. I understand that it's scary to put lineups together, paying up for a captain here. But look, I'm imagining right now, unless you build a balanced line, and looking at early projections, my higher projected lineups do have drivers that are scoring 2, 4 points, 6 points in there. And so instead of playing a balanced type of lineup with your drivers all scoring but in the teens and then the 20s, I'm still projecting lineups that are scoring better, having an expensive captain, an expensive constructor, and basically punting in the driver positions low in salary, the cheap salary drivers. And so this weekend right here, my early ideas are playing, I think Mercedes, I don't think they win the race. That's just where I'm at right now. That can change. So I think Red Bull is going to perform well. I think Ferrari is going to perform well. I like Ferrari at 9.4. I like Red Bull at 10.8. Let's just say we run with Red Bull in that constructor. If you think Verstappen runs well, he's going to beat his teammate, okay? Perez is most likely not going to finish podium, in my opinion. I think he finishes outside of that. So you can either stack the Red Bull constructor with the driver. I like that right now. I like playing Leclerc in the captain position as well. I understand right now we're giving up a little of the projections there, but I like that. Or I'm wanting to say, my brain can't keep up with my mouth. My highest projected driver is always going to be in a lineup, whether it's captain or a driver. In this example, I'm going with Leclerc for the captain. I have Verstappen as my highest projected guy. Verstappen is then going to work his way into the driver, into the regular driver in the lineup. And so I would have Leclerc as the captain, Verstappen as the driver, Red Bull as the constructor. That's where I'm at right there. I'm fine at that point then, and Same thing going back to Haas. It depends on where you go. If you actually do see Haas as a mid-pack team, which I think they do have a chance to do, and you have a Haas driver that isn't just absolutely not scoring, or my bad, and you have a Haas 1 driver that isn't just absolutely being killed, because you're going to get at least 5 points by beating the other teammate. So if you pick the Haas guy who scores minimum 5 points, that's fine. You can get up to going back into play, and I need to remove Sebastian. He has COVID. I'm going to add him after the video. But if you can get up to one of the Aston Martin guys, I'm fine with that. I like this type of line construction here versus going a balanced build. That's just where I'm at right now. That's kind of my early opinions, my early ideas. I'm gonna be doing picks videos and stuff, but I like the way this stuff is built. I like the idea of going here. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I like this. I like this a lot. I think the guys who play League of Legends, the guys who play Counter-Strike, with the same mentality there. When you're playing the captain Counter-Strike, you're only playing one of the 3 highest projected guys, and you're most likely playing the highest projected guy on the slate in the captain position on Counter-Strike. League of Legends, it's most likely your captain is the highest scoring guy on the slate. It's not really similar to NFL football, to where you're going to have 6 guys projected to look good in the captain, and then you can have a guy who's not necessarily the highest scoring captain or highest scoring player be a captain because you can fit in everything else. I don't think going that direction is going to work, but I am curious on what the how everything does shake out this weekend on Sunday to see it in action. But that's where I'm at right now. I want to pay up for constructor. I'm leaving too many points on the board if I don't play the constructor that is scoring the most points. I want to try and get in as many of the highest scoring projected guys as I can in line. That's just how I want to go about it. I believe I'm giving up too much by playing balanced lines and playing guys that are, 4th highest, 5th highest, 6th highest, 7th highest. I think I'm giving up too much upside by playing those guys instead of just targeting the highest projected drivers right now. But that's where I'm at right now. Clearly, this is on Thursday morning. But yeah, that's where I'm at right there. Just want to make this quick video and get some more F1 stuff out. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But this is my early look at it, my early takeaway.